They themselves are makers of themselves by virtue of the thoughts which they choose and encourage. That mind is the master weaver, both of the inner garment of character and the outer garment of circumstance. And that is, as they may have hitherto woven in ignorance and pain, they may now weave in enlightenment and happiness. James Allen.
Amen.
This is Wright Vernon. I'm with the Lost in the Midlands podcast, and today I'm fired up to be here with Mr. John Majounes with the GOAT Development Group, a Maxwell Leadership certified team, the man himself. I love this guy. John, thanks for being here, man.
Sir, thank you very much.
Rock and roll.
I've been watching some of your podcasts, and you're doing a phenomenal job. I am honored to be invited here. Thank you, sir.
That means a lot coming from the leadership GOAT himself. I'm a big fan of anybody who is dedicated to leadership and teaching, and so I'm so excited to jump into it. And we're going to hear about what you got going on, but we got to talk about that quote. That was deep.
Let's do that. Okay, so James Allen wrote a book called As a Man Thinketh, and it is my absolute favorite non-John Maxwell book. Okay, and I don't know if you can get it.
So John Maxwell's up here.
Yes.
James is close, but
James goes. This is the book. Okay, and don't think that there is, just because of its diminutive size.
Yes.
Don't think that there's no content in here. Okay, I have a book club called Not Your Mama's Book Club. Okay, and the reason it's called Not Your Mama's Book Club is because we don't read Jane Eyre or Jane Austen or 50 Shades of Grey or Harry Potter.
Okay.
It's all professional development.
Cool.
Okay, and we spent one 90-minute session just on this quote.
Wow.
Okay, and I mean, I'd love to take a deep dive into it because it talks about everything I do. It encompasses who I am. You know, in the professional development business, if you're building a professional development skyscraper,
Yeah.
the highest skyscraper has to start with the foundation. The deeper and the stronger the foundation is, the higher and more secure the structure is,
Yep.
right? You can get to the Grant Cardones and the 10Xs and all that stuff. But if you don't have the foundation on how you think,
Yeah.
then it's all for naught. So they themselves are makers of themselves by virtue of their thoughts, which they choose and encourage. Choose and encourage, right? Because we don't understand, most people don't understand how the brain works, okay, the mind works. We start with our thoughts encourage our feelings encourage our actions, and our actions determine our results, okay? So it all starts with how we think. So it says, by which they choose and encourage. Huge. The mind is the master weaver, the developer, the builder of not only the inner garment of character, who we are and what we represent, but the outer circumstances, the outer garment of circumstances, and that they, as they may have hitherto, which means up till now, okay, and as they may have up to now, woven in ignorance, meaning we don't really know what's going on and we don't have an understanding of this. Because they've woven in ignorance and pain, they now may weave in enlightenment and happiness. And I want to be clear on the word ignorance because it's misused in the world today.
Yeah.
Ignorance is just a simple lack of understanding. If I go out and play in the streets and I don't understand that a car can hit me and kill me, I'm just ignorant, right? But once I understand or see or am aware that a car can kill me while I'm playing in the streets, and I still go do that, now I'm stupid, okay, right? So it's all about being aware, and then acting intentionally, and that is just.
That's got. I mean, I hear you talk about that all the time in B&I.
I don't mean to interrupt, but it's foundational, absolutely foundational. You can do anything you want, provided you have the foundation. And that's what I do. GOAT Development Group is not about you becoming a Tiger Woods or a Larry Bird or Lionel Messi. I mean, it's not. We can do that, but we can't get to that point if we don't have a solid foundation.
That's beautiful.
Does that make sense?
That does make sense. I love, and I've heard this message from you before, and it's proven. It's speaking with your customers, et cetera. I was watching them grow. And speaking of foundation, let's talk a little bit. I'm gonna switch gears for a sec. Your foundation. Yeah. How do we get to getting into leadership? I mean, so you're not from Columbia, right? You
can't tell? No, I was born and raised in Bluffton. No, I'm kidding. No, I'm originally from New England. Okay, spent half of my life in Rhode Island, and then my formative years in Boston. And after high school, I moved to the North Shore. That's how they say it in Boston, the North Shore, which is the North Shore of Boston, and just loved that area. And then in the 80s, I came to South Carolina. I lived on Hilton Head for 10 years. And then left in the 90s. Yeah. And then subsequently ended up in St. Louis until 2018. After I got divorced, I moved back to Columbia, and I've been here since 2018.
The amazing city of Columbia graced us with your presence.
A large metropolis, absolutely.
Yeah, very cool. Well, your organization, where do you start people? Let's say that you are bringing in a new client.
Yeah.
Do you have what is the game plan? Like,
the first thing is finding out the pain points.
Yeah.
Okay? Because I'm not going to presume that I know what's going on in your mind.
Yeah.
I want to understand what your pain points are. What do you want to accomplish? A couple of questions I ask. What got us together today? Why did you want to sit with me? Why?
Yeah.
I wait for that answer. Okay? Second question is, one of the most important ones is, if it has two different applications, if it's an individual or a company, but it's the same question. What problems do you have today that you wish you fixed 6 to 12 months ago? What are they? You have to wait for those answers. And then, depending upon that and the rest of the discovery meeting, I put together a curriculum. I first want to understand how they communicate. Okay, I'm a consultant for the DISC behavioral model, which is absolutely huge. I need to understand how they communicate. If I don't understand that, then there's a communication barrier. So we first have to do that. Yeah. One of the biggest problems that businesses have is a lack of communication. Right? Why did you do it that way? That isn't what I wanted. How come? Why can't you be like Bob? Right? All of those things. Right? We've all heard them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? We've all heard them in our family. We hear them in our business. And because there's a lack of communication. So understanding how people communicate. And the number one rule is we have to understand that we all give, receive, and process information differently.
Yeah.
We give, we receive, we process information differently. And one of the reasons we have conflict is because I'm insisting that you receive and process information the way that I do. And that isn't what DISC is about. Understanding your behavioral style is a component.
Yeah.
But the most important part of it, which is, I think, the most neglected part of it personally, is understanding how you process so we can connect. So connecting is very important in my initial phases of getting a client on board.
This is Wright Brennan, the owner of C. Wright Roofing. When it comes to the maintenance of your roof, you want to know that you have an experienced team that knows what they're doing. And with 10 years in the business, we check all the boxes. Leaky roof, storm damage, or just overdue on maintenance, give us a call at 803-828-4181 for a free estimate. Again, that's 803-828-4181. And remember, our commitment is to roof it the right way. Let me ask you this question. When you are doing these discovery meetings, kind of looking at it from a wide angle, do you find that there's a lot of patterns of similarity? Like, is everybody kind of just missing a few things? Tell me what it is. What's the secret?
The secret, there is no secret, because I don't want to oversimplify it, but we all have our own issues.
Yeah.
Okay. But I find that they typically fall into it from a business standpoint. Okay?
Right. Okay.
They typically fall into 5 areas.
Yeah.
1 is a lack of communication.
Yep.
2 is a lack of leadership. Okay, people don't necessarily understand the difference between leadership and management.
Yeah.
Okay, management is, right, I told you to do this, how come you didn't do it? That's management. That isn't what leadership is. Leadership is getting the best out of you. So communication is the biggest problem. Leadership, equipping, okay, teaching your people how to run and build the business to your expectations. It always boggled my mind, because I've been in business for myself since I've been 19 years old. And one of the predominant thoughts was always, how do I get out of this business?
Yeah.
Not meaning there's something wrong with it, but how do I take myself out of it so I can enjoy the life that an entrepreneur wants to enjoy? So equipping others to replace me was always a driving force for me, and I don't see that in anybody anymore. So we're not equipping our people. I wanted to equip people in my business so that when problems arise and crises came to a head, they didn't need me. Right? They were capable of handling it on their own. So communication, leadership, equipping, attitudes. Attitude is absolutely everything. Somebody said to me the other day, if you were to put together a sales force, how would you hire somebody? And personally, I haven't hired anybody in a long time. And I thought about it, and I said I would ask this one question. Fill in the blank. Attitude is... And if you don't answer everything... sorry, the position is full. Okay, position has been filled, right? So we have communication issues, leadership issues, equipping issues, attitude issues, and relationships. You got to have relationships. We're working in an environment together. There has to be a relationship. The conflict doesn't have to destroy the business.
Right.
It's the law of the bad apple from the 21 Laws of Leadership. You have a bowl of apples and you get one rotten one. The good ones don't make the rotten one better, right? It would be nice, but
unfortunately,
absolutely. But the rotten ones destroy the core, and you got to create a culture, and that's what I try to do. I mean, if I had to put a fine point on it, I try to help people develop a culture of productivity and leadership and profitability.
That is. Wow, you really said that in just a super easy to understand. I can tell you're an expert in communication. Nailed it.
Well, I've been practicing my affirmations on how concise and clear I was going to be all morning. So.
Fantastic. Well, you were bringing up equipping people, and I was just thinking, I was like kind of playing in my head, a business owner sitting across from the GOAT, and you tell him, well, you didn't equip your employee. I bet that puts the guard. I'm wondering, some of this stuff, you have to probably dance around. I mean,
I don't do that. You don't hire me to dance around an issue. Okay?
Full court press.
Listen, you can hire somebody else to lie to you. I'm not going to do that. I can't do that. I take what I do very seriously. I also know how important it is.
Yeah.
And, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I said, listen, I'm not beating you up. I'm trying to encourage you.
Yeah.
I'm trying to get you to a point of taking action.
Yeah.
I'm trying to point out the things that I see that you need help with, that need changing. And he's going, oh, I need this talk. Well, great. We need now to take action. And that's the whole point. It's application. I use this example all the time. If you Google goal setting, right, you get 7 billion results. Like you need 7 billion options, right? But the point of the matter is you don't need help goal setting. You need help in goal achieving. And those are two different processes. Goal setting is a systematic process. SMART goals is an example, right? Goal achieving is applied positive psychology, and it's completely different. That's why most people don't accomplish their goals. They don't understand the difference.
That is really interesting. What do you find the commonality amongst businesses that seems to be a today's problem?
Plan or goals. There's none of that. We wake up, we're in the HVAC business. How many calls we got today? Okay, great. Let me go send how many guys we got sick, how many guys we were working, right? All the industries the same. Roofing industry, right? HVAC, right? All the trades, just whatever the industry is, right? Psychiatrists, how many appointments we got? There's no strategic plan to develop the business.
Yeah.
So, one of the things I say to people, listen, if you're doing $500,000 a year, right? And if you fix the things that you told me about, you could be at $2 million. Right?
That's some great news.
Right? Right. Okay. But what's happening is...
You got them hooked after that.
Well, not yet, but we got them sniffing the bait. So you're at $500,000, you want to do $2 million. Your lack of knowledge is costing you $1.5 million a year.
Oh.
Don't complain to me about my invoice. The cost of me helping you is far, far less expensive than the cost of your continuing in the vein that you're moving in.
Yeah.
Right?
The hard truth. You got to swallow it.
Yeah. I mean, I don't sugarcoat anything. And that's the reason half the people in the world love me and half the world, half the other half hate me, because I don't sugarcoat anything.
We need more people from Boston to move down.
It's not that. Thank you for that. But I'll tell you, I understand. But it's about having non-negotiables.
Yeah. It's
about knowing who you are and what you stand for and what you're willing to tolerate. Okay? It's non-negotiables. I talk about that all the time. What are your non-negotiables? What's a non-negotiable? Okay, well, we got to start there.
We need to make one quick. You better have at least one.
Right. I mean, what are you immobile about? What are you never, ever, ever going to compromise on?
These sound like really fun meetings. I just want to come sit in and
listen,
watch.
I have tons of fun. We have fun. We laugh. But I tell you what, my purpose, let me tell you a story about purpose. I struggled for years about people having a purpose. Okay? Because I didn't think people had a purpose. I thought that a fork had a purpose, a tire, internal combustion engines have purposes.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't think people did. Until somebody said to me that a human purpose is fluid, meaning that your purpose today could be different than it is 3 years from now. Okay, and then that made sense to me. So my purpose today, one of my purposes, purpose I.
What is it?
Either one. Is that I want you to leave my one-to-one, my discovery meeting, my coaching sessions. I want you to leave I want you to walk out the door a better person than you walked in the door.
Yeah. Fantastic.
Just have a moment of enlightenment, just a moment of aha, just a moment of, you know what, I need to think on that.
Yeah.
And that's my purpose today.
That is beautiful. I'm going to ask you some rapid fire questions.
Go.
Favorite book?
As a Man Thinketh by James Allen.
Favorite leadership style?
Transformational.
Is that Maxwell?
No, there's two actually leadership styles. There's servant leadership and transformational.
Okay.
I provide transformational leadership through a service leadership process. And that is a conversation for another day.
Very cool. All right, who's your favorite guru?
John Maxwell and Tom Hopkins from a sales standpoint. Maxwell from a leadership standpoint, and the influence that man has within the globe, throughout the globe, is absolutely incredible. From leadership, it's John Maxwell. From a sales standpoint, it's Tom Hopkins.
Advice to a leader falling apart. So that's call you.
What are your non-negotiables? We've got to establish non-negotiables.
Number one.
Got to make some decisions. Stop vacillating.
Where can I find you?
John@developthegoat.com, www.developthegoat.com, and 314-409-3501 is a direct line.
John, it was fantastic having you on.
I enjoyed it.
You coming back?
I want to be back. We can go on for 20 more minutes if you want.
We cannot, but thank you. Thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Hey everyone, many thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a follow and click the bell to stay up to date on future episodes, or click the link to watch another previous episode. Also, don't forget to like, share, and please leave us a comment. We'd love to hear your feedback.